And we're live. Hello, Carol. Hello, Samurai. Hey, Error. Welcome in,
Oh my
guys.
God, 5?
We're live. Can you see you?
No, hold on. I'm trying to figure this out. Hold on, give me a second. I can figure it out. I can figure it out.
Welcome in, guys. I'm going to do my little intro while you figure out your situation.
Got it.
Got it, got it. It is Carol. So exciting. Are we good on sound? We're good, guys? Can you guys hear the ominous music in the background? Possibly. You look thanks. Wait, are you talking about me or him? You gotta be specific, Carol. All right, guys. Well, I want to introduce you, Kat. Thank you, Carol. Welcome to episode 2 of Bonfire Stories. Um, we have some exciting stuff going on. I would like you guys to meet my bestie since what? Freshman year? Sophomore year? A bunch of years?
Yeah, like 2010,
Yeah,
2000, something like that.
for a while. So this is Esteban. He is an artiste. Thank you, for the subby. He is an artiste in Arizona, but like around the world as well. Very talented. You can find his stuff on Blind Liberty Art Collective on Instagram. Um, he has two juicy stories for us, and feel free to ask questions along the way. And yeah, he's pretty open to it. So, Esteban, would you like to let us know what we're gonna learn about right now?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I have two stories that happened to me that are real that have kind of shaped um my opinion on reality and what's real and what the world or existence is. One of them, which I'll be talking about first, is the sleep paralysis story, and the second one is my first sighting of a UFO. And so we'll start with the sleep paralysis story.
Sounds good. Also, guys, with him being an artiste, he gave us an artwork of his terrifying story. So when he's ready, I will be sharing that with you guys.
Yeah, it's kind of like the YouTube shorts. Wait till the end, because it does have a crazy twist to it, which is pretty which really solidified my whole like thought on this being a thing that I wasn't just dreaming about. So okay, um, there was a time. I gotta remember exactly when this was, but it was probably about 7 years ago or so. I started experiencing sleep paralysis episodes, and I don't really know why. I'm not too sure. I know that they're usually brought on through times of great kind of like distress or restlessness, or there's just something that's going on in your waking life that's making your subconscious experience want to, um, I guess, attack you uh,
Mm-hmm.
for some reason. But uh, what happened was, there was a sleep paralysis experience that I had before this, which was my introduction to sleep paralysis. Like this was a nice, like, a when you're an Instagram influencer and you take a photo of like somebody's hands and it's like considered like a soft launch
Mm-hmm.
of you being in a relationship. Well, this was the soft launch of sleep paralysis. So um I was the soft launch consisted of me laying in bed, all the stereotypical things, right? I'm on my back, and I'm about to fall asleep, but I'm not quite asleep, and all of a sudden, like, the only thing that I can move is my eyes. So I'm kind of like darting around the room, and I'm starting to have like a little bit of a panic attack because I never experienced this before.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just really trying to focus on being able to move my body, as well as being aware of all my surroundings. And then slowly, after a little bit of just me kind of, keep putting all my mind into me moving a body part, it finally happens. And then I'm like, I'm out of it. Sleep paralysis is gone. I'm awake, and everything was as it was
Before.
during the episode. Like, this wasn't me dreaming, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, cut to, think about 2 nights later. Same thing happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's late. It's not too late, but I'm laying in bed, and I'm laying on my back, and then I have this sensation of where, um, when you're slowly drifting off to sleep, and then you
Mm-hmm.
have that like jolt awake, like you're falling sensation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that happened. But after that jolt, it was just like, it was like I was just petrified.
Mm-hmm.
Like my whole body was just like, oh, laying there stiff, and I couldn't. I was like, okay, here we go again, you know.
Run,
And
whatever.
yeah, so I'm like, okay, we're just gonna ride this out. We're gonna ride it out exactly like last time. It's gonna be the same thing. We'll be fine.
Nope.
And no, we weren't. Um, it hit me, and I can hear all the usual shit in the background, but this time it was a little more intense. It was like my breathing was very just like labored,
Mm-hmm.
like it was like, fuck, was I running? Like, what happened? And
That's
I'm
interesting that
listening,
you
I'm
say
listening.
that because
Mhm.
people with sleep paralysis, they talk about like a demon, or it's usually a woman, and the person has to be on their back to experience it, but they feel like suffocation, like a lot of pressure on their chest. And a lot of people will talk about how sleep paralysis, it just feels like suffocation and a lot of pressure. And so the fact that you're experiencing that, like it's usually a demon that's doing that, a woman demon sometimes, but demons can take different forms.
God,
So,
I wish it was a woman, but it was it was. Uh, oh yeah, oh right. I understand, but this time it wasn't. You know, it was just a lot of heaviness on my chest, and I'm listening to
you
everything
got
around me.
you got
That
asked what position you were sleeping in when it happened.
oh I was on my back. I'm sorry. I have it pulled up on my phone, but they're so tiny. Like, I can't. Here, I'm gonna show you what I'm looking at, just so nobody thinks that I'm ignoring them. Look how tiny that is. I can't read chat.
I'll let you know. But
Um.
Samurai asked what was your sleep position. Hey everybody.
Oh. So I was sleeping on my back. I'm usually a back sleeper.
Okay.
So it was just me on my back, feet to the rest of my room. You know,
Mhm.
I sleep in the middle of my room, so I have like a nice scope between like one corner of my room to the other. Um,
Got it.
so yeah, that's where I was, and I can hear everything around me, right? I hear my aunt in the other room, and she's kind of like getting up and moving. She's coughing, and I'm laying in bed, and I'm like, I I I thought I'd call for help,
Mhm.
like someone just to like jiggle me a little bit, like, hey, wake up. Um, so I hear her get up to go to the bathroom, and my room is directly just adjacent to the bathroom. So like I'm trying to call out for her. I'm like, like that's what I'm doing. Those are the sounds I'm making. Like,
Mhm.
I'm trying really hard to talk. And then and she goes to the bathroom, she goes back to bed. So I'm like, okay, shit, fucking missed my opportunity. So I'm just gonna have to ride it out. And then And then my room gets darker. My room starts to like, it's like someone took the dimmer and just went,
Mm-hmm.
and now
Like,
that now the corners of my room, like I can still see the corner, but then I see something in the corner. It's in
ooh,
it's in the right corner.
nope.
And it's just I see these two eyes in the corner of my room, and I'm
You're
I'm not fucking having it
you like
at all.
locked in, or did you have to look away?
Yeah.
You locked
I'm
in.
no, I'm locked in. I'm like I need is I'm not having it. My body's like there's like a physical response to like what it is that I'm seeing,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like this anxiety. It's
Mm-hmm.
just it's just it's like this what like um and the it's so, so this fucking thing, whatever the hell it is, it
Mm-hmm.
comes off of the corner of my room, and then it goes to the floor,
Mm-hmm.
and then it goes to the end of my bed, and then it jumps on the bed, and then it crawls, and then it stands on my chest, and it's like looking me right in the fucking eyes, right? And then with me like kind of doing all this gasping shit that I've been doing, it's like I feel it like worm its fucking way into me.
No,
And
nope.
yeah, no, this is fucking what's happening. I'm not fucking with you. This is what I'm experiencing, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
the
Right,
how I can
She's like, hell
what
no.
chat say?
Carol
Yeah.
said, oh, hell no. My hands
Hmm.
are sweating.
Yeah. No, mine
Um,
too. I'm fucking like I'm moving shit. Like talking about it sucks. But so th- the experience of having this thing in me, given I haven't had a lot of things in my body before, and it's I the best way that I can describe it is if I am drowning uh from the inside. Like I want it's like you tied me up in a straitjacket and then you threw me in a shallow pool, and I'm like magic carpet, I'm just fucking flailing around.
mm-hmm.
That's what I feel like within me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not a religious person. You know me. I'm not
I
religious at
know,
all.
yeah, I know this.
So I'm like, all right, we're gonna result to the final the 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 final thing that I can possibly do. Instead of waiting this out, we're just gonna start like praying. Maybe we'll see what that does.
Mm-hmm.
And this is me. Like if something's going fucking down and prayer is the last thing I resort to, something's fucking wrong.
Facts.
Something's bad. And
Yeah.
it's not like that's not me. So
Yeah,
I'm
guys,
praying
like I
and
said,
I'm like
I've known
shit.
him for years. Religion, none. So for him to say that he is praying, he saw something, experiencing something. Real quick, Samurai said it's quite common experience among the sleep paralysis, entity standing on the chest, etc. So, like,
Hmm.
yeah, that's a big no-no. Black Shade, I'm really sorry that this really helps when it's pitch black room and insomnia and it's 1 a.m. Continue and enjoy the story. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
My bad. Yeah, I tried to get on earlier, but I had to go to work, so it's like this is the time slot that that could fit. Um, uh, but watch it on the VOD.
Yeah.
There. So so I start praying, and I'm whatever fucking prayer that I can come up with. It's nothing.
Mhm.
It's just me kind of like thinking about getting this out
Mhm.
of me,
Yeah.
and 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 then slowly I'm like having this fucking war, and I feel like Houdini when he's trying to like take off the straitjacket, and he's like slowly like making buckles loose and pulling arms out of underneath his armpits, and
Pause.
slow like the
We're in a
hmm?
commercial. We said commercial pause. It says we're in a commercial. We're taking a break. Quick ad break.
We're in a commercial.
Yeah.
Damn it.
So give it uno momento. Brought to you by Monster.
Brought to you by Telescope. What is this? This the University of Arizona?
Can you dissect your body into two different equal pieces vertically when you sleep on your back? Hypothetically. Right? Like, can you not jump into the body?
Yeah, I could. I could have done without that.
I asked this. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, there was a lot of chat coming in at once, and then like I have it here, and then I have it here. I'm so sorry, but like we're getting there. But um, yeah, no, I was talking about like the whole feeling of like people that have sleep paralysis and like different. It was on my last episode. We were talking about how different places, different um, I'm not sure. Um, but different places call it different things, and majority of them say that it's women. Majority of them say that like demons take, shape of different things, but it's always pressure on the chest, always suffocation, and it's people always laying on their back. Can you split your body? I don't know. Maybe you could try. Good luck. Maybe start sleeping on your side. Don't give it the power. Um,
Don't give it the opportunity. Yeah.
have you ever had any of these moments like in public, like in front of a friend? Did they have to comfort you? Sleep paralysis is usually like
No.
you have to be
I
in
mean,
bed asleep.
I didn't experience anxiety attacks until
Until
right, but I think oh, I think my audio cut out.
yeah, just a little bit. You're fine. You're back.
Okay.
I think we're
Okay.
back from the commercial. So if you want to continue your sleepy paralysis.
Yeah. Okay. So
Okay.
where we left off, I felt like Houdini, kind of wiggle out of a straitjacket, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the only thing that I was really focused on was trying to just move a finger, just move something. Like fucking goddamn it, let me get control of my body so this thing can fucking leave.
Mm-hmm.
And then slowly I started moving things. Like I started moving the pink, like that's in fucking Kill Bill when she's trying to move the big toe, and then trying to like wiggle it.
Mm-hmm.
That was me.
You're just like
And
any
then
movement.
slowly, right. And then after I moved my fingers, I was like, okay, we're in the fucking game, dude. Let's spiritual warfare. And we it worked.
Mm-hmm.
I it's slow. I slowly started like this. It started to wash away from me, and I started having autonomy over my body. And then I same thing. It's like I woke up. Like everything was exactly the same as it was. The same noises were going on. Like nothing was different. So I wasn't asleep. And it was just my consciousness being awake the entire time and having this experience. And I was like, okay, this has to fucking stop. So we're gonna have a conversation with someone about this, because if you can take what's happening within you and kind of like bring it out into the world, it's a lot easier to manage.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Um. So I ended up having lunch with my mom, and this was I think 3 years later. So I had been like, I hadn't told anybody about this sleep paralysis thing for like 3 years.
Hmm.
And yeah, it was just like, okay, we'll manage it, And that was the last one that happened. I haven't had sleep paralysis since. So, but it was still like something that I thought of because I'm like, fuck, like that was really weird. And so I was having lunch with my mom one day, and then I brought it up.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her about this. I told her everything. I told her the exact way that I felt, and then she told me that she's experienced the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Same, like got a good look at the motherfucker, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And I I got I got fucking chills because one of the ways that I got this idea or concept out of me to like deal with it was to draw it. So
Mm-hmm.
I drew it,
Mm-hmm.
and I was explaining to her the things that I saw,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, I drew it, and then I showed her the photo. So if you want to show the photo,
Here we go, guys. Should be
if it,
there.
if it pops up on stream,
It should
there
be.
it is. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I showed that to my mom. I showed that to my mom, and she started fucking crying in the middle of a Cracker Barrel.
Not
And
Cracker Barrel.
she told me that she saw the same thing.
No.
Yeah, yeah, it was the middle of the goddamn Cracker, right over the grits, right over the grits and biscuits.
Damn. Yeah, right, guys?
Yeah,
I
yeah, that
just
thing's
turned on my
fucked.
light. Samurai said, I just turned on my light. So
Yeah, that
she
thing
saw
that
the same
thing's.
thing, right? But I'd get
She
a
saw the
fucking
exact
chair
same.
and I did. I can't sleep with the lights off tonight. Well, remember, guys, if anything like this comes towards you, all you have to yell out is, "You're not welcome here. You can't stay here. You need to go." That is what I've seen in every single story. They say, like, if anything comes towards you, all you have to say is, "You're not welcome here. You need to go."
No, I wish someone would have fucking told me that.
Well, you didn't talk
The
about it,
thing
now did you?
that thing made itself at fucking home
In
for a
you.
good like 10 minutes. Yeah.
You were comfy.
Yeah, if any foreign body's in me for 10 minutes, something's fucking wrong. But yeah, that was it. That's the fucking thing that I saw in the corner of my room. That's the thing that got inside me. That's the thing that I had to pray out.
So, it's interesting though because so I do my own like research on these topics. You gave me your location. I will not put that out on the internet for everyone. Sorry. But I did
I
my
can.
own. No, no, don't do that.
I'll do
um,
it. Ready?
nope.
Southern
So
Arizona, we'll say that.
people have had sightings there in Arizona, in Tucson. I will say your city, sorry. They have seen a sighting of a tall but hunched over figure with dim eyes and two sharp teeth in the front.
What? Like a rabbit?
No, like it has regular teeth, but they were talking about how on the sides it has extra long, sharp teeth. And when I saw the picture and I saw the story, and I was like, maybe this
Mm.
little figure is going around your town because now that you just said your mom saw it, also you saw it, and there's sightings of it. Maybe it's a Tucson
Interesting.
thing.
Yeah, maybe. I never
There's
heard about that. That's different.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting things. You have 20 popular haunted locations in Tucson. Your house is within 10 minutes of a lot of them.
Ah, shit. Like 10 minutes walking or 10 minutes driving?
Driving. So like 10
Okay.
minutes, but
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
in
driving's still
different, it's more
pretty close.
like up so from you, but a lot of them are like within 10 to 12 minutes from you.
Yeah, I
Let's
had a friend that lived in an abandoned house on historic 4th Avenue.
Oh, yeah,
So,
I read about that one. So that's
mhm.
let's see what else is going on in Tucson. Um, a lot of people have so are skinwalkers a thing where you are? Because a lot of people are talking about skinwalkers in Tucson.
Yes.
Yeah, skinwalker's a thing where any densely populated native
Yeah,
tribes are.
they're very, very popular by you. Like very
Mhm.
popular. So a lot of
Oh
people
yeah.
are
No,
talking
there's
about like yeah, they're talking about like huge dogs with like long tongues, like really long
yeah.
tongues. Is
I
like a
have
huge
a
thing.
friend. I have a friend of mine Um, they live out in the middle of the fucking desert, and she's forgot what tribe she's associated with. Thinks that the Hono'odham, and out there on the res, there's just nights where she says that there's like her first experience, which was like the one that was the most like shocking to her, was it was like 2 o'clock in the morning and she kept hearing like this dog outside yelping, like
Mm-hmm.
like really pain, like it was
Yeah.
just out there crying out for help, and she wanted to go help it because she's a very compassionate young woman. She ended up
Mm-hmm.
turning into a vet now, but she wanted to go help it, and then her mom said
Don't do it.
absolutely not. Like
Yeah.
that is not, you go out there, you will not be back in this house.
Yeah.
No. So
You have a
yeah,
question that's from Blackshade that said, wait, hold on, it got inside of you. Was it with a tongue, if you don't mind me asking? If it's too much, of course, you don't need to answer, but um, he wants to know if it is. Was it like, how
if it
exactly
was,
going inside you?
oh, it was best way that I can describe it was because it was on my chest, and then it kind of like I don't want to say slithered because it wasn't a snake. It was kind of like it just amongst the me like going like that,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of like for air, it's just it kind of like forced its way in through my mouth and down my throat and then like inside.
Like hands
And
first, head
it,
first, or just like you were just like, I.
oh, it was like hands to and then head. It's
Okay.
like a
Yeah, gotcha.
hello.
Well, it was definitely saying hello, right?
Oh yeah.
So, okay, so, but like, did it get in you completely, halfway? Could you take it
Oh,
all?
completely. Like
Okay.
all of it. I can take it.
Okay.
I can take it all. Don't
That's not
underestimate me.
that's not what I meant. I'm
Don't
talking.
disrespect me by saying that I cannot take all of it.
Oh, okay. I was talking about your little demon friend.
Oh, yeah, all of it.
Okay.
All of it.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Hmm.
So a couple of other things that people have cited in your area. Um, a legless woman in white. She was floating around a couple of streets over from yours, apparently. I don't know how she's legless, guys. Like, I'm just reading what people have talked about. There's also things about unexplained laughter on certain streets near yours.
Those are
So,
just the crackheads
I
outside.
guess. There's another one about giant owls that take little kids. And I know you've seen quite a
Oh
bit of
shit.
owls lately.
I've seen owls, but they've always been like good owls.
I don't
Never had a
know.
bad experience with an owl.
Sometimes owls aren't a good omen, apparently. I'm not a professional.
Sometimes they are, depending on what tribe you ask, they are.
Yeah. Well, some say it's a sign of good luck, while others say like it's a sign of death. So,
Yeah, my aunt says they're usually a sign of death.
mhm.
And I'm like, I've seen like four. I'm still alive.
Not you. It could be someone that you're close to, or someone that you know, or something like that. Oh. Have you seen them take little kids? Because apparently owls in Tucson take little kids.
No, but I've seen a I've seen a hawk take a chihuahua. That was pretty bad.
Oh,
Just scooped it right out of the street.
okay. Hold on, I'm reading the chat. I cannot pronounce that, Blackshade, but I will definitely look that up. Samurai said in
Let me
his
see if I can
country,
read that.
owls are an omen of death. See? So, owls
Oh,
can be a no no.
yeah.
um,
I
also,
finally, I finally, I finally got. Hold on a second.
okay. Also, people have seen figures shaped like the Grim Reaper. Plenty of sightings of a Grim Reaper esque entity around you.
I've heard of that.
And then apparently people have seen La Llorona around you a lot as well. You,
Don't doubt that one bit, because we do have the Santa Cruz River that flows through through
that
Tucson. It's
that
like a
is
big part of it.
exactly where people have said that they've seen it, but also in other parts of it. For those of you that
Hmm.
don't know the La Llorona, it is. I've learned it as a child because I am Hispanic, as pale as I am. I am Hispanic. And we always got told as a little kid, like, if you don't stop crying, La Llorona is going to come get you. And, her legend is that she was a woman who fell in love with a man. He didn't want kids. She had two. She took her kids to the river, drowned them, and then she realized, thanks, Janet, she realized what she had done and regretted it and went to go find them and drowned while trying to look for them. So now she's so sad that, like, when she hears a kid cry, like, she goes and takes them and tries to drown them or something. So apparently in Tucson, a lot of people have seen sightings of a woman crying in the river. And then when they try to either look or something, that she's not actually there. So there's plenty of La Llorona sightings in Tucson. So kids, don't cry if you're
Yep.
over there. Not to
Yep.
scare you, but
The
stop crying.
old Hispanic tale. That's just to get kids to shut up when they're in the supermarket.
Honestly, but see, the first time I ever heard that story is I was on a camping trip in California at Bass Lake with all, like, the cousins, the tias, the tios, grandparents, everybody was there. And I remember, yeah, thanks, Rogue. I remember, like, I don't remember what we were doing, but I was so upset about something I started crying. And then my grandma was like, we heard like a creak in the woods or whatever, and like I turned and she's like, "See, it's La Llorona. She's gonna get you if you don't stop crying." Man, I stopped crying so fast. I was like, I don't remember what I was crying about. Yeah, so I was like, I'm good. But yeah. So La Llorona, guys.
Yeah, that's a good story.
Not when you're like 4 years old crying in the woods next
Yeah, but
next to a damn
have
lake.
you as now a mother, have you used that story on your kids?
That one specifically, no.
Yeah.
Has my
Oh.
grandmother used it
Okay.
on them? Yes.
Yeah.
Did they get scared? Yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I haven't used it personally, but my grandma did. Because they were fighting with each other or whatever. And one of them started crying. The other one was like, "You're tattletaling." And then my grandma's like, "Keep it up. La Llorona's going to get you." And they looked at her and they're like, "What's the Lalona?" And I was like, "Llorona." And then she's like, "It's a lady that's gonna get kids who cry." And then they're like, "Mom, is it true?" And I was like, "Yeah,
Yes, mijo,
yeah."
it's true. They're coming to get you.
Right. I mean, they wouldn't be
It's
my
always
kids.
it's always the nanas too that do it. It's always the nanas or like a tia. It's
Hmm.
hardly ever like a mother. It's all these fucking old bitches, man. These old fucking bitches just want you to shut the fuck up. They're tired. They just want peace and quiet. They're
Yep.
out by the lake. They want to enjoy their fucking day off, and you have a damn kid
That's just crying.
whining because they didn't bring their waddy weenies and they want to go into the water and have a splash about, and it's like, yo, shut this kid up. I
Yeah,
understand it.
like I'm
I
trying
respect
to
it. I respect using fear as a
fear
token
tactic.
tool to
I
get some.
mean,
Yeah.
most Hispanics use a fear tactic in their kids, either La Llorona, the chancla, something of the sort.
Hmm. Hmm.
um, but
Absolutely.
yeah, chat. You guys want to chime in? What was your scare tactic your parents used? Hello? But we shall now switch over to our next encounter that you have had, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure. That's fine. This one's a brief one
Mm-hmm.
because it's like a hit and run type of thing.
Oh, damn.
So
Welcome,
when
H
I
unit.
was about yo, what up, big dog? Oh, I don't know who that is.
H
Um,
unit is one of my mods. He's really chill. He
Hi,
just
what's up, dog?
he just rated
Oh,
us.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, so when I was probably around 12 years old.
Mhm.
I went on a trip. We went to Utah, and on our way to Utah, we ended up stopping at the Grand Canyon. I had never seen the Grand Canyon at that point. Even as a kid, I understood that it was like a huge achievement of like
Mhm.
geology.
Mhm.
So I'm like, point me to a big hole, and I'll look into it,
Mhm.
and I'll be like, damn, that's a cavernous motherfucker right there. So so I was really excited to be there,
Mhm.
and we went to the Grand Canyon. Beautiful day. We were out there. God, we were probably there for like 5 hours. Um, but during a point in time, I was looking out into the canyon.
Mhm.
I was on the side of the Grand Canyon that you enter through from Flagstaff,
Okay.
and so we were on what is technically like the south side of the Grand Canyon. So I'm looking out into the horizon, and then my eyes wander from like this huge cool ass hole in the ground, and I look into the sky and I see this little ball, this little very shiny, bright, spherical object
Mhm.
just hovering there. It's not doing anything, it's just hovering.
Mhm.
And I'm looking at it, and then for like a second, I
Mhm.
get this feeling like, oh, it's also looking at
You.
me.
Mhm.
And I'm like, what the is anybody else seeing this shit? And I, everybody, I'm the only one that's at the thing, looking out, and the rest of my party is like, which I probably should have been too, but they were like, there was this woman that had a condor on her arm, and
Mhm.
she was like, man, so the condors of the fucking Grand Canyon are a native species. And I was like, all right, cool. No one's looking at this thing in the sky. And uh, I, I'm just looking at it. I'm looking at it, and it's not doing anything. It's just sitting there. And so so they call me, and I turn around, and we all take a photo. It's a really quick photo. And we all set up, and the camera flashes, and then everybody fucking goes their separate ways. And I look back at this thing in the sky, because
Mhm.
of course it's like that's the weirdest thing.
Mhm.
And then I catch it. I go back to look at it as soon as it just fucking, it just
Whoa! It was
goes.
gone.
It just, yeah, it leaves, and it just flies north at an insane amount of speed. Like, this
Mhm.
thing was gone. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Nobody's looking at it. No one around me is like, whoa, what that, like, so there's no one there who can say, yeah, I remember that. No, nobody.
Mhm. No one
It
could
was
back up
just
your story.
me. Yeah, I'm just a lone UFO experiencer at 12 years old, looking at this thing. And I if it were anything, if I could say that I was into aliens before then, I
Mhm.
wasn't. I was 12 years old. What is a 12-year-old into? I was into motocross bikes. I
Mhm.
was into ATVs. I, like, I wasn't into aliens. I
Right.
never caught an episode of X Files. I never. By that time, they were like fifth season,
Mhm.
and I no. And after that day, it turned me
Obsessed.
into a UFO believer. I am
Mhm.
a I am a slut for aliens.
Love it. Love it.
And it's
Anybody else in chat? Are you
all
a
because
slut for
of
aliens?
that.
So Tucson is known for a lot of UFO sightings. A lot. And I
Hmm.
wanted to ask you the color of, I don't know if you said it. I think you did. Do you know the color of the little shiny orb that you saw?
Yeah, yeah. It was just a metallic. It was just a bright metallic metal of some sort.
Mm.
It was just
Because
bright and shiny,
bright and shiny.
reflecting, the sun was reflecting off of it.
That's one of the colors that has been seen. Other people have seen red orbs. They've seen reddish orange, like plasma-y type of look. They've seen a
Mm.
white light. Someone saw something with like a shiny white light ship. If they don't know what to categorize it as, but like they saw something, and it said that it flew into a cloud, but it never came out the other side of this said cloud.
Oh,
Um, Other people have seen, someone has seen an orb, like you had said, a shiny orb that was there, and then it like hovered over, and then it zoomed, and then two jets had followed it. So they
oh,
don't
cool.
know. They don't know if it
And
was like the military following some extraterrestrial thing. Um,
hmm
Other people have seen like just random flying objects a lot in Tucson. Like they'll go between like midnight and right before the sun comes up. They just see like random things floating in the sky that like can't really
hmm
be explained, and they're like oddly shaped. Um, and people have also said that they would see like these random things in the sky, and then all of a sudden, this one's kind of weird for me. I don't know if I really believe it, but I read three stories on it, and I was like, maybe
Okay.
it's a thing. They would see these random objects in the sky that they're staring at it, and then they would go to like drive away from it, and their car fills with like a swarm of flies. And I thought that was
Oh,
really weird.
wow. That's a new one.
Yeah, and I was like,
Ugh.
what?
I don't like
I
that.
didn't like it either. Like when I first read it, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe you just had your windows down. But then I kept seeing like different mentions of it in different places, and I was like, oh, what's going on? Why are they randomly seeing flies? So it was really
Yeah,
weird.
I don't like that one bit. No thanks. That's some Amityville horror type shit.
Right, Black Shade. Yeah, so I don't know what it is, but like flies and extraterrestrial. Maybe someone in chat you can let us know. But it was like a thing that like they would see random things hovering in the sky, floating in the sky, and then all of a sudden like a swarm of flies in their cars or their vehicles or around them. So I was like, oh, interesting.
Yeah. No, no, I haven't experienced any of those. The flies is I'm gonna look out for the flies though. That's fucked up. But my my neighbor my neighbor that lives in front of me,
Mhm.
he's a huge UFO nerd. Like this guy's
Really?
looking toward the sky. If he's not, I don't know how he gets home from driving on the street. This dude's eyes are
Looking at the
like they're
skies
fixed all the time. Like
on the sky.
another fucking come. And uh he sends me videos sometimes of shit that he's seen in the sky, and he
Hmm.
posts it to his Facebook all the time.
Wow.
And I have seen the UFO like disappear behind the clouds. I have seen that. He sent me a video, and I posted it to my TikTok. Uh, it's just it's a thing flying through the sky, and it kind of just like the clouds are going
Hmm.
past it, and where like it's going to a point where you follow it, and then where you expect it to be
It's not
because of the
there.
trajectory, like it's not moving right, it's not moving away, it's not moving towards, it's perpendicular to your eyesight,
Hmm.
and it fucking not doesn't come out the other
It's
end.
not happening. Yeah.
Is No, it's that one was cool. That's the one that he showed me where I'm like, what the
And you're
fuck is
like,
that?
where did it
So
go? See, but the interesting thing though is it's really hard to justify videos that we've seen, but the fact that you know him personally and you'd be like, okay, yeah, like I know this is legit. But a lot of stuff that you try to see on the internet, it's like, okay, is that real? Is that fabricated? Even now with like the government things, how they were showing like those two little alien bodies, and it's like, are those real? Is it fabricated? Because me personally, I don't think aliens look like what we see in movies and TV shows. Like I don't think they're like I maybe they are, maybe they're not, but I don't think it's what they showed in those little boxes. Those look like little props from like Men in Black to me. Like I don't. I
Right,
don't believe it.
but the whole concept of UFOs. See, before the 1950s,
Your head.
you
See.
yeah, because sorry, because I was headed to get a book.
Okay,
But
go
before
ahead.
the 1950s, UFOs were aliens were kind of like this. They were more seen as robots than they were seen as organic life forms.
Mm-hmm.
So then Roswell happened, and then Roswell. Now I believe Roswell was real. I
Mm-hmm.
believe that aliens fucking crashed. The guys that saw it were farmers. The guys that
Mm-hmm.
were the first on site were farmers because it was the local population and they were the first ones to arrive when something's fucking burning and falling out of the sky.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you know, they're going to go check it out. And so the men that were there that saw it, the farmers, the ones that took pieces of the craft,
Mm-hmm.
which we now know as it's memory metal. It's metal. It's metal that you can bend, and as soon as you apply water to it, it fucking like it goes back to its original shape,
Mm-hmm.
which is fucking crazy, right? So that I believe that was completely real.
Mm-hmm.
And after that event, that's when you start seeing these aliens portrayed in movies as organic, big-headed, tiny body, big eyes,
Yeah.
organic life forms. Like that's your traditional view of what an
Your cookie cutter idea
extraterrestrial
of it.
is. Right, and those are the grays, and we're gonna take a I'm gonna be hosting this fucking show now
Mm-hmm.
because
Go for it.
I
Leave it
I
professional.
I there's and then hold there's a fucking there's a guy. There's a guy. Hold on, I have the book. I have the book. I have the book. I have the book. The book is called Communion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a guy. Oh my God, where is it?
You're
I
like,
was
I
just
have
reading
the
it a
book.
little while ago. I have it. 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 Where the hell did I? Where did I leave it? Oh
Maybe
no!
the aliens
Oh
took it.
no! Oh no! They know about me.
They know you're
Hold on.
on to
I'm trying
them.
to. Yeah, I'm like okay. So, I don't know where the book is. Oh, here it is. The book is called Communion. It's about a guy. His name's Whitley Strieber. Right.
The cookie cutter
This is
version.
yeah. It's your archetypal archetypical. It's your archetypal typical. My bookmark is a little alien. It's
Convenient.
an archetypal image of what a UF what an alien is.
Mm-hmm.
But Whitley Strieber at the time, this is like the first uh like widely published abduction story.
Mm-hmm.
It's a true story. It's about this guy. He was at he's not some fucking Joe Schmo. He was a professor at a college. He did teach. He was and one day while he was at his home in New York,
Mm-hmm.
upstate New York, he had an abduction, and he woke up in the fucking snow out in the forest behind his home. And the whole book Communion is about him telling like what happened the day of, what
Mm-hmm.
happened after, his fucking struggle with what happened to him. Like
Mm-hmm.
after that, he was not the same. He started repressing so many emotions. His fucking marriage was going down the shitter, and he just couldn't live with himself knowing that something was fucking wrong. How
Wrong.
did I end up in my fucking backyard with this? What the fuck
Mm-hmm.
happened? So the book it goes in, he starts fucking researching, and he finds out that there's a way fucking hypnosis, which I know it's some wooey woo
Mm-hmm.
motherfucking bullshit to a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
but it's he decides, you know what, we're just gonna give it a fucking shot because there's nothing that a doctor can fucking tell me. There's
Mm-hmm.
nothing that my wife can reassure me that's gonna make me feel better. There's
Mm-hmm.
nothing that my career, my colleagues, my university can say that is like, hey, don't worry about it, Whitley. Like, you'll be fine. No, like, he had to resort to the last fucking thing, like me and prayer, finding a way to describe what happened.
Mhm.
So he goes into this hypnosis, and him and the guy, they ended up being friends for like the rest of their life. But
Oh.
it's a story about everything that happened that night through regression, through hypnosis.
Oh wow.
And it is a very compelling read. I highly recommend it. It's Communion by Whitley Strieber. He doesn't pay me. He doesn't know who the fuck I am. And then also another another good one, which is pretty cool. It's Need to Know: UFOs, the Military, and Intelligence by Timothy Good. This is a collection of military reports that have been declassified that go back all the way to like World War II,
Oh wow.
of 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 aviators fucking crossing the Atlantic Ocean and then seeing these fucking things in the sky that it's the fucking Japanese. It's
Yeah.
not the Japanese. It ain't the Germans. Like
It's
and it sure as fuck
something.
isn't American. It's fucking something, and it's crazy, and it's a good read. Like, it's really good. It goes into like all the military programs that were like conducted by the Germans and the fucking Americans and stuff, and the technology and everything.
So your input on Area 51?
It's real. It happened. That's what it was. My input on the motherfucker who it was the Mexican government that was like, oh, mira aquí, what did we find? And it's a fucking it's not, no, that's not real. The dude who did that is a proven, like, he's a shyster.
Mhm.
He's just a guy that tells lies. So it's not based on anything. That shit's fucking wrong. And I know it's during a time when all this like government declassification of documents is coming out about things that are in the fucking sky. That they were just writing, they were piggybacking off of that.
Mhm.
I don't know how the hell he got a public forum. Then again, the public forum was like a local thing. It wasn't put on by like the greater government as a whole. It was just like, hey, welcome to the town hall at the local military force. We're here. We're having drinks in the back. If you like some tequila, you can go out front and Tato Jose. Like, we're like, it's that, I'm allowed to make fun of the Mexicans because I am one. Um,
Fact.
so yeah, so that's what that was.
Got it. Got
It's
it.
fucking bullshit. Fuck that guy. I'm sorry. I've been talking for like 20 minutes straight. My bad, dog.
No, that is exactly what this
I
is for. This is like my platform for my guests to use, and piggybacking. So like, I love it. I have questions. You have questions. Chat has questions. So we're like going for it. Um, no, it's just it's one of those things that like you have people that say, "Oh yeah, it's true, it's real, it's gonna happen," but then you have someone that's like completely against it, like, no, there's a reason for everything. But then you have people like me that are in the middle, like where I'm like, okay, yeah, this, but I understand that. So like when it comes to like the whole extraterrestrial things, like, do I think that there's more out there? Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't there be? There's no reason that we would be the only ones. Do you know how many galaxies, planets, all the unknown that is
yeah.
out there, and you mean to tell me we're the only ones? Like, no, that is not true. But
Mm-hmm.
then it goes
Mm-hmm.
into the other part of, okay, yeah, there is all these other things out there. Like, I know that there is, but why, if there's aliens here, why hide? What's the reason? What's the purpose? Why don't they want to communicate? Have they tried already? And like, don't, I'm not trying to say like, oh, like these whole lizard people thing. Like, nah, I don't think it's that, guys. Like, that's a bit like, I don't think it's that. But like, again,
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I've never seen it. But like, that's like, so it's like that. That's why I like this whole bonfire stories and adding all these like Mandela effects and encounters and ghost encounters and everything in it, because I want that medium of like, okay, yes, there's this but then there's this that. So it's like that's what this whole series is about. It's like because I had my encounter, two other people saw it, and it's like there are stories out there where like you just can't explain it, but it's a good story to tell. And like it that goes into the whole extraterrestrial thing. It's like you can't explain it, but it's a good story to tell. So the fact that you're telling us these things is like that's because it's a good story to tell. And sometimes we're just not going to get the answers to everything, and that's okay too. Although I want
Oh,
the
I'll find
answers.
the fuck. I'll find the answers. I'll fucking get those answers too. Like I believe. Here's what I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that we're all part of a collective consciousness. I believe that every single mind is connected together, much like the largest living organism in the world is a collection of trees that share the same root system,
Mm-hmm.
and they're fucking spread out over like miles, like
Mm-hmm.
square miles. And I believe that the way that human intelligence works is that we're all part of it.
Mm-hmm.
We can all tune into it. We can tune out to it. There's people who are more capable of doing it than others. Me, I'm a fucking idiot. I can't tune in and out of that thing. It's like I don't have my little bunny ear antennas. I can't fucking go
Like your third, the
like
whole
it.
third eye thing.
Right. Like I'm closed. I know this wasn't part of the program, but if you want to talk about me talking to my dead cousin, we could totally do that too.
Go for
But
it. I mean, that's a
um
whole part of like the whole talking to, you know, we're
yeah.
good. This
All
isn't a
right, cool.
timed thing. Like it's just we're here, we're chilling. People can stay, people
Oh,
can go.
perfect.
Yeah, like we're here.
Okay, good. All right, fine. Then I'll fucking go over all my shit. But like I was saying, we're all part of a collective consciousness. We
Mhm.
can all tune in and out of it. And I think what what is where was I going with this? I think that aliens, extraterrestrials, they're also part of the human. They're also part of the consciousness. They're part of the greater consciousness of like existence and the cosmos.
Mhm.
That's why they're so elusive. They're of a higher intelligence than we are. Obviously, they have to be because how are they here, right?
Mhm.
Um, and they're just waiting us to get to a point in human evolution where we can commune with them without any sort of hostility because we're fucking cavemen, cat.
It's gonna be a
We're
while.
we're we are fight or flight.
Yeah. I don't think it'll be during our lifetime then. It's a long ways to go.
No, no, of course not. No, absolutely not. But we're fucking fight or flight. Like as soon as we see something that is very just foreign to us, like the first thing, especially as Americans, fucking, I'm gonna grab the fucking and
Mhm.
and and as soon as we reach a point where humans can like fucking cast aside their ability to be like as a as a world be a victim to everything that's outside of it,
Mhm.
then we'll be allowed to commune with extraterrestrials. After the creation of the atomic bomb, after all of that, all of the UFOs that are fucking like in this book that center around the development of the atomic bomb. Once we learned to harness nuclear energy, that was our to make a callback. That was our soft launch into the greater sphere that is
Mhm.
the collection of stars and galaxies.
Mhm.
And the first thing we used it for was to kill.
Yeah.
And that
Unfortunately.
that that is not the natural way
Mhm.
of the universe.
Mhm.
You know, of course, things are created and born, or and they live out their span of time, and then they die. But
Mhm.
it's a very like unnatural thing to want to kill out of just just hate. You know, kill to
Mm-hmm.
survive.
Yeah.
That's basic animal instinct, right?
Yeah.
But but for war and for power and all of this, it's
Not
fucking
necessary also.
no, it's fucking toy trains and blocks. You know,
Yeah.
we're on a very surface level way of thinking,
Mm-hmm.
and once we stop that, then we can progress into the next tier of existence within our universe. That's not going to happen in our lifetime. You said it, which is
Yeah.
very sad because I would love it to. The the thing the thing that really pains me the most is knowing that I will not be around to see how the future unfolds.
Yeah.
I hate that. I think about that shit a lot. It's like I cry about it.
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean, I've had that weird like I don't know if anybody else has had it, but it's like you I don't it's usually when I'm trying to go to bed and like you're laying there and you think about like oh, like life is gonna eventually come to an end. And like you get that like anxiety feeling, that panicky, like you want to cry, you can't breathe, you have to walk around. I don't know if anybody else has experienced something like that, but I've experienced that feeling of like that's all that's gonna
oh
be.
no, I'm on an unstable internet connection.
Oh no. What did you do? But how does that mix in with the fact that war and conquering has been about of humanity for thousands of years? Hmm. I will
Uh-oh.
ask. Are you back? Apart. Not about. Oh, okay, let me try that again. But how does that mix in with the fact that war and conquering has been a part of humanity for thousands of years? I shall ask when his thingy fixes. Give me a sec. Hold on. We'll be right back. Okay, guys, so we're gonna wait for Esteban to come back and then we will continue from there. Um, so yeah, just bear with us for a sec. Let's see if I can add a source for me and we will talk for a bit until we can get him back. You are. Let's see. So, what are your guys' views on it? Who's pro aliens and who's against? I would like to know. I thought I was learning baby. Not today. We're learning about aliens and extraterrestrial and things like that. You know, fun stuff. Let's see. Nice, nice. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then we were talking about ghost stories and stuff. Creepy things, creepy things. But like cool creepy things. But it's really interesting how the input from Esteban about these things. I'm curious to have someone that thinks otherwise about it. So if you guys have your standpoint on it and you would like to, kind of like a debate, you know, if you guys can explain the things that we see in the sky and the reasoning for it, or what you believe on if, you know, maybe the aliens could are here and just you don't? You up for the challenge? I think we have him back. Well, hi. Can you hear me? Why isn't
Did it
my
work?
I'm loading in, so give me a second. But yeah, my cam's not working for me now. So I was talking about the possibility of having someone who kind of like counters the argument, if that makes sense.
Uh-oh.
What'd you do? Oh, what did I do? I love a good technical difficulty, guys. I'm just gonna turn off my cam for now, you know? Wait, where did you go? This is great. Dom, is there a way to do a three-way call? Oh, geez, what did I do? My bad. Yeah, one sec. All right. I'll set it up. Sounds good. We're gonna see the other side to this. Because I think it'd be a great idea to see like other people's input on it. What do you guys think? The fact that you acted like a child on me. That was awesome. Ooh, I just closed my Discord. Whoops. Discord. What is going on with the settings right now? This is awesome. Okay. Let's see. Doms. Join. How do I invite someone to it? Oh, add person. Invite. There we go. Sent an invite.
You can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I'm trying to add it to him. I don't know if it'll let me send it to him.
And then what you'll be able to do is just share that call.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to do, but it's not letting.
And I think you do cams in it too, so it'll work.
Sounds good.
Wait a minute. Yeah, all you have to do is turn your camera on.
It's telling me to make something in like a mod or something.
You can share the same invite I sent you.
Okay, let me try to do that. Messages. I'm trying to figure out how to do that. Copy. Paste. Go. I think I did it. No, we're not looking for something to do. Alright, I sent it to him, so. Are you still there, Dom?
You send it.
Yeah, I sent it. Oh wait, hold on.
Okay, very good.
Hold on. Hello? Hold on. Let me. Where's Dom now? What is going on? So much going on. Yeah, hold on. I'm figuring it
I'm
out.
here.
All right, I'm seeing if his will join. I'm trying to figure out why my cam's not turning on right now, but it's fine. We'll figure it out. Are you guys all here? Yes. No. Maybe.
She ain't.
Oh, there's a little screen. It's so tiny. Oh, we're in a commercial anyway. It's okay. Cool. so confused. You're still there, Dom, right? Yes. Oh my goodness. Why does this hate me?
I'm here.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out why his isn't coming in for some reason. It like hates me right now.
Why his isn't working?
I'm not sure.
I can't hear you either.
It's so weird. You guys there? Yes, no.
I mean, I can hear you.
Okay. I can't hear him.
Can you hear me?
Reason. Yeah, we can hear you now.
I can hear you.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay.
That was so
We
weird.
just can't hear Cat.
You can't hear me? Why can't you hear me though?
I can only hear you in your stream.
Really? That's so weird. Let me see. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I was like, well, what happened? Oop, nope.
Oh God.
So everybody can hear everybody, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Give cat technology and it breaks it.
Okay. So Esteban, Esteban.
How
So
you doing?
Hi, Dom. What's up, man?
Okay.
I brought in Dom because he's gonna be the counter argument part.
The contrarian, if you will.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, you mean the role that I usually take for everything? Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that
that's
one.
that's the guy I love to be. I love to be like the asshole in the room that like why.
Me
The
too.
why.
Me too. I get it. I understand.
So may but it's probably good practice to be on the other end of it too, I guess.
Yeah. So you guys,
I don't really have like a huge like contrarian point to it. Like the only thing I mentioned like in the chat and it kind of came out kind of it's again sounds different when it's written than when it's said was if you look at like thousands of years of humanity, right? We've kind of always been battling or at war or something or whatever. It doesn't make it right. It's just I think it's kind of built into the DNA of I think even more than humans, really. Like there's evidence of animals that really like battle for territory and things like that or whatever. So I think that's the only thing I would really say. Like I think it's always been built in our DNA to have some but of a like conquered contestant, if you will, like of like, but more so for territory stuff. I think we've gone way further than that now. I think now it's just about like power and money and a lot of other things, but I think in the crux of it at the beginning, it was always about like territory, which I think would be like that anywhere. I think like any across the universe, if there is, although we have not seen any defined proof, it's hard to say scientifically. I mean, the universe is huge. There's no like the odds of there being zero biological life in the universe is just stupid. That's just stupid to even think so. But the odds are also very, 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 very small that we would ever stumble across each other either with the size of the universe. Like, until we get to the technology where we can travel space like that. Not saying that they don't have it either, because they could very well be further along. I subscribe more to the theory of multiverse than actual like stumbling across each other in the same universe. More like, and I've talked to Kat, I've talked to you about this more so like the wormhole theory or the dimensional crossing theory or whatever, rather than that would be almost more believable to being like, oh, like Christopher Columbus style traveling across the universe and happen to stumble across another set of life. The way with the assumption that other biological beings out there in the universe have technology further than ours, because we just assume that, right?
Mm-hmm. But maybe also the
I mean, we could
argument
they
could
could
that
be the argument could be. I mean, just saying,
that
but it
they
also
don't.
couldn't be.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The argument could be that they probably don't either. That they do or they don't. Because I
And the
think
reason
there's
why I say
still
the
parts.
dimensional thing.
There's
Oh
still
no, go ahead.
there's
Sorry.
still parts here in the U.S. where like they don't use technology at all. Like they don't even have electricity or anything like that. So like the argument is like there could be the possibility that they're just not advanced yet, or that we're so far in advance, or the opposite of we're not even
Honestly,
scraping
the best way,
tip of it.
the best explanation for this, and this is going to sound really, really, really nerdy, and maybe y'all have seen it, maybe y'all haven't. But the best explanation for how I see this is, have either of y'all seen Battlestar Galactica?
I've heard of it, but I haven't actually seen it.
Okay, if you get to the end of the thing, because they have you thinking about how things are. This is a civilization that basically left their kind of worlds. You know, they had like 7 worlds. I'm not going to go to the whole deep explanation of it, because we'll be here for hours. But basically, they kind of ran out of their little, civilization or whatever, and they're crossing the stars with these big galactic spaceships. That's what they call them, battle stars. They're basically like the equivalent of like an aircraft carrier, but in space. And all of these other ships, and they're basically just traveling along, trying to find somewhere to live, like and keep going. Like, it wasn't. It's not until the end of the show that they actually stumble across Earth. But when they actually stumble across Earth, they stumble across primitive Earth, like just out of the Cretaceous, like barely, like the beginnings of humanity.
Cool.
And they land here, and you end up seeing this like scene that's like hundreds of thousands of years into the future, but really it's kind of like nowadays. That the ones that were cyborgs, part of that whole thing, they call them Cylons, are still here. And they've kind of been directing how humanity's been going ever since. But they weren't really super technologically advanced. Like, if you look and watch the show and you watch their like ships and everything, like whatever, they're kind of like the equivalent of like a regular Navy, but in space. Like, there's not super, they don't have like photon lasers and all this other shit. Like, it's really, and that's how I kind of see it, is I think that, I mean, there overall is a possibility that there's like super advanced, alien race out there or whatever. Yeah. But these were legit other humans. Because nobody's even really stopped to question that. Like, is it the possibility that we're the only real humans out there? I mean, they could be genetically different in some ways, but maybe their biology is different in the way that they can live on that planet that they're on, and with it being somewhat different.
Well, one of the theories that leads to the existence of extraterrestrials is that they are so far ahead of us that all of these things that make humans different to each other, based off of like your religion, your nationality, your geographical location on Earth, like we've or not we've, or maybe we've fucking maybe, who knows, like they've the view of extraterrestrials is kind of like us evolved so far along into the future that they are who we are going to be once we've made all of the evolutionary steps.
That's a very good point, because that's how this show is basically saying, without all that extra photon and all that stuff or whatever. But basically, like, what they're trying to say is that like they are humanity now,
right?
But they were here. They had arrived back then. Like, right. And so that theory makes sense, because if you think about it, like, and that subscribes more to that multiversal theory where you're kind of wormhole time and all that stuff or whatever. Who's to say that we just aren't then? Yeah, and maybe you're probably already saying this, but we could be them. We're just not there yet.
Right. Or what I'm also saying is like, because either like these are just ideas that
no, I feel you.
we, like you said, they are us, but we're not there yet, or they are other. However, we have not caught up to them yet because, based on their location within like the galaxy, based off like where the center of the universe is, you know, we who the fuck are we to know like how other civilizations have evolved?
Exactly. Yeah,
Like
I agree.
other, yeah, like other carbon, like who know? They may not even be carbon-based life forms like we are. They could be something completely fucking different. And is that what has allowed them to evolve in such a way that their technology is better than ours? So they could be the other, but just more. They have everything like so fucking fit. They've had so much time to map the cosmos, kind of like find these, for the sake of being like simplistic, like trade routes among the stars in order to commune or check in on other planets and other life forms.
I mean,
So that's one.
to what you were saying, I like what you said about the center of the universe piece because here's the thing about it. We don't really know where the center of the universe is because we haven't mapped the entire universe.
Right.
Like,
yeah, we're not, yeah.
we could be on the fucking outskirts for all we know.
We know it's moving further away.
Yeah, I don't think that there is a center of it.
what?
Yeah. But to your point too is, I guess we could be the other. Any one of them could be the other, like the different from their eyes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they could be fucking aliens to us, but to them we're fucking
of course.
aliens.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Well, that also
yeah.
goes into the other.
Primates.
That also goes into the other theory that supposedly that how oxygen is a poison. That's why they can't breathe it, and that's why we don't live as long as these supposed
Well,
other
oxygen is
places.
poisonous at over a certain level, and I think that's your point. Is maybe
They just
I feel
can't
like
breathe
we have
it.
been able to breathe oxygen because of years and
Evolution.
years and years of evolution.
Yeah.
We've been able to do it because I think like they did a study on like the Neanderthal lungs and like from what they can gather from like evolution of humanity, and like oxygen was just as toxic to them back then.
Mm-hmm. So it's
And
like
that's
maybe
why I think
that's why they don't
homogenesis
come
kept
here.
changing over time. And I guess it's really in the studies that you look at. So like
Mm-hmm.
you've got one side of, I feel like you got these buckets, right? You got one side that's like really dug into the whole Anunnaki,
No, the Anunnaki.
Anunnaki attack, and that they were already here and we're just fucking slaves that they left us here.
Yeah.
That they made us, whatever, and like they just said, "Fuck it, we're done, we're leaving," because they mined us for what that they, there's a channel I watch that's on YouTube. They do a lot of these stories and they gather a lot of data from like other places to make this like stories. It's called the Whatever Files,
Mm-hmm.
or and I watched that, and basically it's like the thought process is through all this history that they are from that Planet X, the Nibiru, that one that they can't never find, or whatever, and that they came here because in order to rebuild their atmosphere, they needed an element from here to do that, which is gold.
Mm-hmm.
And which is funny because if you think about like all the study that they've done from like the Earth, or like I can't get the word, but like when they look at like rocks and stuff like that on other planets.
I want to say geology, but I don't think it's geology.
Yeah, but like of the of the planets that we know of in our solar system,
Mm-hmm.
we are the only ones that have gold.
Cool.
I didn't know that.
The gold is the only. There are other elements from Earth that are on other planets, and that makes sense because at one point we were all just all these planets were just dust flying around the fucking space. That just all the creation of planet was the planets was electromagnetism, gas, and dust particles from the explosion of the the Big Bang settled in one area, and then the gravity of your biggest star, which is the sun, started pulling it closer to the sun, but the gas kind of is like a negative to that, and it starts they start balling together. The way that they looked at the science, I think Jupiter and Saturn were first because they're gas giants. They were never a solid form in the first place, so it was easier to form them. But the other asteroids from that, the other shit that actually like, you know, balled together easier, effectively every planet's just a bunch of asteroids that melded together. And then gravity melds it into a spherical shape, not always perfect. I hate these fucking globe things or whatever they show it as like a perfect sphere, because it's not. It's not. Science has proven that it's just fucking oblong and it moves. If you actually look at the photos that they took from Voyager when it passed Pluto, Pluto's all kinds of fucked up shaped.
Hey, Pluto matters.
I mean, you know, apparently it's not a planet, but you know, whatever.
It's fine. Us little ones stick together.
But so if you look at that, I'm not shocked that some of our minerals are on other planets, because I mean, we're all just a bunch of dust. The one that shocked me was the fact that gold doesn't exist anywhere else.
Yeah. So you were talking about the like the whole timelines and stuff like that. I have a question for both of you that you may or may not have an answer to going into the whole extraterrestrial. There something about like space gates or something, or
Stargates.
Yes, stargates.
Well, stargates weren't really meant to. I mean, technically, if you look at this, I guess the science behind the show thing or whatever, they aren't necessarily time traveling thing, but every movement in space is time travel because of how far everything is apart. Everything is time, unless you're moving at FTL, you know, faster than light travel. Like everything takes a significant amount of time, and even then, again, we're so primitive in the fact that when it comes to faster than light travel, and they never talk about this in any of these fucking shows that have faster than light travel. Yeah, you're moving at faster than light, but everything else around you is still at regular time.
Well, that's because I was trying to tie
answer whether that time gets fast forwarded. Okay, like say, does it slow down that time to where, okay, you're moving this fast, and you get to your destination, and it's like you only moved a few minutes, or does it drag the rest of time for everything else up to that future point?
Yeah.
Nobody's really talked about that. I guess it's just assumed that, like, you know, the way they made it up was, okay, you're just moving this quick or whatever. Because I don't know if you guys watched Interstellar. There was some interesting science in there about how that all works.
Yeah. Because, like, that's my whole thing is, like, because when Esteban was talking about, like, he saw this orb and then it, like, just shot, like, gone. It's like, well, if that can have that type of speed, is that something that's like going to be?
I don't think the that kind of speed to truly hit faster than light travel, like you're because light's faster than sound. Like so, like even breaking the sound barrier is slow compared to faster than light. You can't really quantify with your eyes faster than light. Like you can't see it zoom off. It would just disappear. Like you wouldn't even have time to blink. It would be like there, and it would almost look like an aberration in itself. Like you thought you saw something, but it wasn't.
Okay.
You would never see like a trail of something taking off. That's how much faster. I get your question is like you're saying that's kind of maybe what that is or whatever. I think that kind of travel.
I just want the aliens to hear us and be like, you know, we see bloop bits here and there. Because, like, when I was in Vegas over those mountains, there was, like, these lights that were, like, they hover. There's a difference between, like, an airplane, like, you see it moving.
Yeah.
But, like, when and Esteban, you probably saw the same thing. It was, like, it's just this thing that's, like, kind of, like, you can see it, like, hovering like a balloon side to side in a way. Or, like, just existing
Here's
there.
the part that, like,
so,
I get
it's
caught
like,
up.
How is it that, like, okay, we can see these things happening. These jets that we have are going as fast as possible to see these things. And it's like, we know that you're there. Like, whatever it is, we know that it's there.
Aliens. We assume that it's aliens.
Yeah. But, like, there's no other... my reasoning is there's no other explanation for it. We know military stuff. We know, like...
Well, we know some military stuff.
We know drones and the testing of things.
We know some military stuff. So some of my argument could be that who's to say, like, it could very well be an alien aircraft. Who's to say that that's an alien in it? Who's to say?
Or who's to say that the aircraft is an alien itself?
Oh, that's a
Absolutely.
good one.
Yeah, like the alien. I mean, who's to say that the government didn't get a down aircraft and they're testing it? So you could be partially correct. It could be an alien aircraft with a human in it, and then of course, government's going to deny it, whatever.
But
And this is
wait,
where I get like
Esteban, you
in
said that, or
my
the
thought
craft
process
could be
on
an
it.
alien itself?
The craft itself could be alien, yes, but is
Yeah.
it really? Oh, you mean like talk about it being a being itself,
That's a
Yeah,
question
that's
for you.
also
like a
theory.
biological being? Like it's funny you say that because like in Battlestar Galactica, like some of the airships, like the fighters, were actual like beings themselves.
Well, you were talking about, Esteban, about memory metal, right?
Oh yeah. Yep.
So
There was a
go ahead.
on during in the Roswell crash. It was like one of the things that they recovered was a metal that you can form it however you want. It's really light. It's like an I-beam, and the I-beam is like a structural like component. It's like a fundamental thing.
Yeah, I get what you're
that
saying.
amongst
Yeah.
everywhere is it has strength and rigidity to it because it's a structural element to something.
Right.
So it was made of this metal that you can just kind of form it and squish it and like bend it however you want to, and as soon as you apply water to it, it just like snaps back into its original shape.
There are some types of metal that have similar qualities. So
Now, don't get me wrong. So I'm a welder, right, by trade. I went to metallurgy.
Okay, that
class.
actually helps. So there you go.
Okay, I went to metallurgy. Like I took a metallurgy course, and I understand like how metal. Now, all metal does have a memory. Well, maybe not all. All ferrous metal has a memory. So, like one of the things that I'm taught is that, you know, when I do repairs on things, it's no matter how the metal is formed. So, for example, the frame of a truck, or let's call it a frame of a school bus. It's these two long channels that are shaped like a C that are created through like rolling metal through a form, and it comes out the other end shaped as that C. After it cools down from being liquid, fucking white hot, it wants to stay in that form. So when something hits it, and it experiences an impact and it's bent, and my job is to fix it, the way that you have to fix it is under extreme force and on a molecular level. Like you actually have to. It's like the process, when you look at it, it's like, oh yeah, he's just banging on it. But what's happening on a molecular level is like you're exciting all of these molecules in order to get them back into the little spaces that they were in before it was bent. And they want to do that. And that's why, you'll if you ever look at anybody making anything that involves metal, they're hammering the shit out of it because they're trying to get it to form into a new form. They're trying to beat it into shape. So metal has a memory. Most metals have a memory, but this metal, it's like as soon as you pour it on there, it just fucking boom, like it goes back to the way that it was.
Or maybe it's just another form of, again, and it's another form of a something on the scale that we haven't just ran into. Like
right, it has to be some kind of alloy that we don't have access to because it's made of metal.
Or I guess the element in it, to make it, like we could, like to make that metal, it's an element. One of the elements in it is something we don't have here yet. Like it's not on the periodic table.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
so then
right.
That's what
brings
brings
in our galaxy or Earth or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's what brings it into the possibility of, there is extraterrestrial. Yes, there is proof of it. It's just not what Hollywood makes it out to be. It's not what the government makes it out to be. Or even
like journalism or whatever. Because so here's my, and I went down this rabbit hole with you, Kat, or whatever. So I guess I'll go down here. Is like you've got these, like, I call them quacks, these UFO quacks, because here's my theory on like these people that have like witnessed this stuff and whatever. So like the Bob Lazars and stuff like that. If you're out there dishing out government secrets, how are you still alive? Like, clearly, if they didn't want, if what you were saying was true, and you're throwing out these secrets, they're not going to let you run around talking about it. You're going to accidentally end up dead. You're going to accidentally end up in a car accident or shit like I think that some of these people that are running around saying all this shit, the government lets them because it distracts people from the actual shit that's going on. Like,
yeah.
Well, that also, there are, there are people who, my favorite expression is they commit suicide by 5 shots to the back of the head.
Yeah,
like,
I get what you're saying. Like it's accidental, like assassination. Like it's a
there are people that have that has fucking happened to them. But when you
and those people I want to believe, like, because it's like, okay, because you clearly was onto something. That's why they got rid of you. But Bob Lazar's been on like 35 podcasts. They don't give a shit about him.
Yeah, because here's the thing though, because Bob Lazar did it the right way. If you're gonna come out with any of this, the way to do it is to go public as quick as you can, because then you know that if something were to happen to me and I do end up dead, it's because what I'm telling you is true. And
but there's and I agree with you, but here's where I think the government looks at it is, or the way the government can portray it to people, and they don't really care if people believe them or not. Like because what are you gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, who the fuck are we?
Who the fuck the government? Like, it's like, they're like, okay, he could be telling the truth, and then he accidentally fell off a cliff. Okay, and we're at where we're at.
But not just that, I think it's a good tactic on the government's part as well, because then you have people who kind of like Dom, they'll be like, okay, well, if he's telling the truth, the government would have done something about it. It's like one of those like reverse psychology things.
I think, I mean, you could possibly let them run around and talk all kinds of shit, because I swear, Bob, the more podcasts he gets on, the more crazy he sounds.
Yeah, but it's one of those reverse psychology things.
But there's another guy that's on there that's fucking a quack too. The guy that made that documentary about the crash landing in Brazil, the James Fox guy. I feel like a lot of what he's saying was the truth, but the way he went about it with his media campaign and all that stuff or whatever makes him look like he's lying.
Okay. So how do you feel about Stephen Greer?
Stephen Greer is a bigger quack than fucking Bob Lazar is.
Thanks fucking Christ. See, you understand. I like this guy. Like, so Stephen M. Greer, like, here's the thing about Stephen M. Greer. I believe that a lot of what he says is true, right? So I believe he has documents to back it up. But the way he goes about, literally marketing
I will say there's like 20% of what he says might be real.
Right. But the way he goes about
this other shit about other dimensional fucking, and having these and tries to make money. The moment they start monetizing it, they're full of shit.
Exactly. Like he has this it's a fucking app that you can download on your phone, and it's about tapping into the collective consciousness and like through meditation.
I wish I could get on a podcast he's on or whatever, just as a phone thing like we're doing now, to tell him he's full of shit.
I really wish too, because he is.
I would troll the fuck out of him, because like
on the next episode. I'm just kidding.
The only reason like people want to hear this shit. So that's why he's got an audience, because they want to hear that their thoughts and their beliefs are real, whether they have proof of it or not. Because this guy doesn't have any fucking proof. Like he's got circumstantial evidence or evidence that other people have already brought forward, and he's made his own version of it. I think the guy that's the closest to being like fully legit, and what makes me think he's legit is because the way the government's acting towards him. Is the guy that went, I can't remember his name, but they had that whole like Congress meeting with him about, he was in the military, and then like he lost his clearance over that shit or whatever. You know the thing I'm talking about, right? Like he looks kind of like Stephen Greer, but not.
I know exactly.
Again, he's not going around trying to monetize and shit like that or whatever. When he gets interviews, it's typically on these like bigger like.
Wait, you said he looks platforms. Like the other guy?
Yeah, he looks. I can't remember his name, but he was like
safe to say that aliens have a type.
No. Well, maybe that when you get fucking crazy, you start losing all your hair.
Yeah, because the thoughts become too big.
Yeah.
they cloud the hair follicles.
Yeah, you need it's to get their helmets on just right.
Yeah, I'm trying to find him. Because he was the one that was trying to like, he was the whistleblower that was kind of like trying to like get them to open up. Hold on, I got him right here. David Grush, like retired Major David Grush, or whatever, and he's the one that like was bringing forward all those fighter pilots that saw that shit and all that stuff, or whatever, right?
Yep.
Again, I have weirdness about that because I'm on the fence with the fighter pilot ones because it's like, okay, could it be military tested aircraft? Sure, but why wouldn't you tell your other military? Like you're putting guys in danger up there with multi-billion-dollar planes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but when has the government gave a shit about its people?
Oh, that's okay. That's a fair assessment. They give a shit about those planes. They give a shit about those planes. They got to build them motherfuckers. The planes are worth more than the people to them. Trust me.
But I mean, with black budget,
F-22 is $12 billion. Okay, like they don't want to smash that motherfucker.
Well, they drop more than enough bombs to cover fucking $22 billion. No, they have the fucking money. Everybody on the fucking higher up of the goddamn lab.
I mean, let's be fair. What is money? Like,
yeah,
we
it's
print
nothing.
it. Like, we print it. Like, the moment you told me that there's a printing press for money, does it really is it? There's truly a value to it?
No, there's not. At that point, when you have so much fucking money, then you start getting into weird shit. And
it used to be about like you could only print the amount of money you have the gold to back it up or whatever. But even that's not
gold
even
standard
anymore. No, that's not even true anymore.
Yeah, we did.
We credit system because everything's based on a credit system, so it's kind of like whatever. And I get it. Look at this motherfucking goofy bastard.
So
yeah, that's it. Somebody got to him first. I was like,
I did.
Ban. Okay, I'm like,
yeah.
But yeah, so like he blew the whistle. Now the way he's going about it. Now part of it is he's ex-military, so he can get away with doing some of this shit as far as like getting in front of certain people or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But again, he's not doing this crazy shit trying to create an app with other concepts. He's not showing up on every fucking podcast known to man. Like I love Joe Rogan and all, but if you're a UFO guy and you show up on Joe Rogan's podcast, you're full of shit.
Yeah, you're just another drop in the fucking bucket.
Because Joe just wants to hear you because he gets so fucking baked that this shit sounds real to him. Mm-hmm. And I'm not even mad at it. I'm not even mad at it because it's entertaining as fuck. And I most of the time I think he's trolling them. So to your points about like the like seeing stuff like the Vegas and stuff like that, whatever. Part of me almost wants to lean on the supernatural more than the actual like alien stuff. Like not extraterrestrial, but more supernatural.
Meaning?
In certain locations. And I say this because like they had all these sightings and stuff like that or whatever over this one area, I can't remember, but that was also basically right above Skinwalker Ranch.
Oh, okay.
So
now what's supernatural about that?
It's Skinwalker Ranch, motherfucker. it's like what I mean was it's like you're more apt to see something on the supernatural side, ghost, or beings, stuff like that, more than you would to, in my opinion. I would lean more towards that than the extraterrestrial. Not saying it couldn't be, but it's probably more. There's enough evidence, more evidence there to easier explain the one over the other. And I think that
what in the realm of supernatural is a giant sphere in the sky, though? Or a giant triangle, or a collection.
So let me get no. I agree with you. I'm saying some of these. I'm not saying that I can explain that for everything. So going back to the whole, it's important you said that sphere thing. Where the fuck did we get this idea that every UFO looks like a sphere? Like everybody goes and talks about their UFO sightings, and every person that's seen a UFO, it's always either the orb. I'm okay with that. But everything looks like a flying saucer.
Yeah, well,
that's Hollywood. That's not us flying. That's not people seeing that shit. They've seen it in Hollywood, so they assume everything is a fucking everything that's. They start there's UFOs. So basically, when they start talking about flying saucers, they lose me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I'll believe the stuff we like triangles and stuff like that. I'm more apt to stay engaged in that conversation.
Esteban, your turn.
I believe you're shapist, sir, and I will not stand for this.
That's fair enough. Touche.
Okay, so like saucer shit, yes. I believe like, you put two paper plates on top of one another, it looks like a UFO. Yeah, I understand that because it's like that's, what do you
It's
have
harder
in
to
your
believe.
home
You get what
that-
I'm saying? It's harder.
Right.
Like it could be, you could be telling the truth, but it's harder to get behind you.
Right, yeah, that stuff I understand. But when it comes to like a sphere, like an actual ball of something, that
You still got
like
me. You still got me in the conversation at that point. Like I'm not like automatically dismissing you.
okay, yeah. So like spheres, because it's like it's a foundational shape of nature.
Yeah,
Like you see it fucking everywhere. So that I understand. Saucers, yeah, sure, I can understand saucers.
I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying
Right.
it's less likely.
Right,
Well,
because
there
we're
was
so
one.
fucking washed out by the media
There
to
was
believe
one that was
saucers are
talking
real.
about how it was more than likely the shape of a ball because of just the way a ball would travel through air. So like if you think of sports like a baseball, like you can get like a good amount of speed to that because of the shape of it. Same thing
So
with
the
like
hard part with that one is
or
and
like
I guess
the
this
same
would
with like a football
this
or a
would
soccer ball. It's just the
this would
way
be
that it
more
travels.
like
Mhm.
you'd almost have the science for this for as far as it traveling through the air would actually have to be if we just go by human science, right?
Mhm.
And I'm not saying that it can't be something we don't know about. Something that's a ball flying through the air will eventually fall if it doesn't have propulsion or if it doesn't have wings. Because it's not, you can't, a spherical object can only fly for so long without propulsion. Like it's going to, gravity says it's going to fall. I mean, that's planes and everything. The only thing that helps planes and everything is the fact you can catch wind underneath it with wings.
Mm-hmm.
Like you
but
can,
that can just go
generate
into
lift
the
with wings.
technology of how advanced that these extraterrestrials are.
So they don't have, so,
Or
and again,
you can also
the
think of it as
technology
a
can be
frisbee.
there.
You can think of
but
it as a
every
frisbee as well. Like those are rounded at some point, but it also has the air capacity underneath it to keep it to float up, if you will. And
for a certain amount of time.
yeah, but
but also
you still have that flatness to where we think that maybe it's the shape of
It's got so that solves the one side of it, right? So you have to have multiple things
mhm.
to generate flight. You have to have something that would generate lift, which is like a wings or like something flat, something that
Yeah,
could
so like
generate
a
air
frisbee
travel.
has that
Then you have to have
tuck under.
propulsion. You have to have
But
propulsion because of
that's
gravity.
but
Because
that's
so
only
like
within our atmosphere, though. You
Yeah.
guys y'all thinking
once you
small
get out of the
time,
atmosphere, that's one thing. Like that's once you get out of the atmosphere, that's one thing. Gravity's not a concern at that point.
Mhm.
right? So the shapes that we're thinking of, it's only beneficial to us if we're working within our atmosphere,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, but
The
once
shape,
but when we're
the
seeing them,
wind
we're
flow, the
seeing them
lift,
in our
propulsion.
atmosphere. We're not seeing them in space. We're seeing them in our atmosphere. So they got to be able to move around in our atmosphere.
But see, but that also goes into what Esteban was talking about metal taking memory metal. So who is to say that it takes shape here because of the molecules of water in our air, and then once it is back in space, it can take shape to something else.
The problem with the molecules in the air part is that changes so dramatically from altitude to location.
Yeah,
So
but
like
they could be so
there's
far in
parts
advance that they take that stuff into account.
within like like a quarter second calculations. Because
Yeah.
like you're talking about like
Because if you
they're
think
moving
about it,
when
it
they're
just
moving as
goes
fast as they're moving.
it goes into the other stuff that you were talking into about how maybe that they're we're being mined for certain things. Okay, well they know how our atmosphere is. They know how what's
Assuming they've
here
been
and
here
what's
before.
yeah, assuming that they've been here for it all kind of ties in back together of like each little bit of it makes sense on like the memory of metal, the mining of what they need here, and them being so scientifically advanced. Because to me, I think they're scientifically advanced because they're shit that happens here that we cannot explain and we can't fathom it, or some of us just don't
So
want to believe it.
here's what I think I'm more apt to believe. I think like okay, you take this size of our universe, right? Like it's fucking infinite. It's infinite because there's no end to it that we know of.
Mhm.
I think that for the most part, I think that we've been visited multiple times, and I think this is pre-human. Like this is almost like I could almost get behind somebody else terraforming this planet. Mind it for the resources they needed to at the time. Because the story of the Anunnaki or whatever, they only took what they needed and left. They taught the very primitive, if you go by their story, they taught the very primitive humans at the time or whatever that were barely human. I don't even think that they were actually like a Homo sapien. It was like that. It was like two evolutions before that. They taught them basically how to build civilizations and all this stuff, whatever that. And then that feeds into the Atlantis and all this other shit and the Gondwana, and Gondwana and all, the Lunarians and all this other shit. There's a lot of shit that I believe are either happened or are plausible that the fucking media molds and makes it unbelievable. I mean, I think you guys can get behind that, right? That there's a lot of shit that probably we fucked ourselves from believing because of, or fucked a lot of people from believing it because of the multiple people spinning it into something else.
Well, I mean, that's easy to say too, because if you think about everything that's going on with like the whole global warming and, oh, it's because of this and this and this, so we need to change it to this and that. Well, maybe it's that, our resources are being depleted from us and we don't know that because they're not telling us that. And they're trying to manipulate it for their benefits.
You're talking about like other, like humans or like aliens?
Aliens, obviously.
I don't think that. I don't see a point. I don't see a benefit to them destroying this place.
You mean there's a shortage in the register?
Kind of. Yeah, like say because we can't travel.
You think that they're mining us from the side, like they're the ones that siphoning all this shit because mining resources not necessarily doesn't create global warming. It's the shit that we're using to do it creates global warming. It's not so much like us taking the resources and siphoning. So like, for example, like coal and all this other shit or whatever, us taking these resources doesn't create global warming. It's the fucking way we do it is what's creating it.
Yeah.
It's because if that were the case and mining resources would have caused global warming, this shit would have happened. We would already be past the brink 100 years ago. Like,
technically, we're overdue for something that's.
I think it's
over the brink.
Again, it's all what you gotta pick and choose like what you take from the media. Like it's
I choose not to believe any of the media.
Because
not right now,
and that's why I kept going to that story. The stories about like I think there's a lot of shit that could be explained better that are still in the realm of like extraterrestrial or and other things like that. That one of two things has happened: either the government's gotten a hold of it and it has generated this mass manipulation of it to where it makes it so unbelievable that it's so hard for people to believe it. And that we're believing in something that's really not what happened, but the other part is still just as
we need that tangible
crazy,
like
it's still like like we could be, we're all on this extraterrestrial bit or whatever, when actuality they were here and they probably might be still here, whatever, but they're getting us away from that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's gotten manipulated over so much time that the real what happened, we're failing to see it.
Yeah, well, that's why I think there's always a little bit of truth in everything. Even in a lie, there's still a little bit of truth in everything.
Even in the people that are full of shit, there's like there's a possibility that 1% of it is real and they've just manipulated it. I don't doubt that Bob knows something, but he's made himself less believable. Dave Greer, I think it's all about money for him. It's never been about the true thing, whatever. The moment he started making money, he's that's where he's lost me on that. He's probably ran into something that was like he had the trail and had the scent of something that could get to further, but then he started making money along the way and it stopped being about that.
Yeah.
But I'm more inclined to believe Bob Lazar because coming out with all this shit publicly like ruined his fucking life. Like
what made it tough with him though, what made it tough with him though is, and I'm on the fence about this, is that there's parts of his career that he lied about. But on the flip side, I was like, I wouldn't put it past the government to make that look like a lie in order to sabotage him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like manipulate some of those records to where it looks like he lied about it, but in actuality he didn't. Because the only one that could defend him on that is him.
Mm-hmm.
Once they get rid of all the evidence, like it's then he starts. All they got to do is create a little bit of doubt, and that doubt, and the media can take that doubt and run with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so again,
It's
I think
safe
yeah,
to
I think
say
he
that
knows
there
a
is
lot.
extraterrestrial.
I think he knows a lot. I think the way he went about going about it. I think the first place where he went should not have been Joe Rogan's podcast. I'm sorry, but that's not the first place you go. Yeah, because that's one of like the first places he went with all that stuff. I know he started doing his book stuff and whatever.
No, Balthazar came out publicly back in like, God, fucking 97.
Are you sure?
Something like that.
I mean, I could be wrong. I'm not saying that. Like, that's one of the first places I've seen him.
No, definitely like the first like huge media platform that he went to was Joe Rogan, because yeah, Joe Rogan's that type of motherfucker who finds these people
Would
and
listen to it, yeah, like or would listen to it. There's probably a lot of places that don't want that shit on their thing, which
and I don't and Joe Rogan has fucking money, so obviously if you're gonna give this fucking dude who basically just ruined his career by
because he'll never work again. Yeah, like he'll never work again in the field. Like it's so yeah, you've got to put
Yeah,
I agree with that.
He needs to put fucking food on the table, and if going on the Joe Rogan podcast and talking this fucking, the things that he talked about back in, I swear to God, it had to have been like the early 90s. Like
you could be right. You very well might be right. And I just, back then though, mass media wasn't as like it is now, right? So like there wasn't podcasts and shit like that back then. So it's probably why it was like an isolated thing and I never ran into it.
Right.
But see, again, it comes me back to this whole thing, and I can agree with you, but like it's like, why have they let him live this long?
Mm-hmm.
Because he came out public with it so early,
and they've killed they've killed a bunch of people that have came out public. It's like
because I think he has such a following, and like he's in too deep, and they know that he's in too deep, and what
are people going to do if he dies? Like, there's nothing that with people, I think, of the mass. The only thing that you could hope for is that somebody picks up his work and continues. But everything
the government doesn't want that.
Or just don't even unalive him. Just put him in a fucking hole somewhere.
I'm going to say the government picks and chooses based on like the amount of information that they know.
Yeah, I don't think that. I think he knows something, but I think that he's missing the in-depth stuff that they need to get rid of him.
Right.
Like that would worry them to like. So I can get with you on that. Like I can like. He was onto something, but they're like he hasn't really got the other pieces yet, so maybe we don't need to worry.
Right, because when he was working at S4, everything was compartmentalized, so he didn't know what the other people next door were building or deconstructing. So it's like, oh yeah, he has information about this technology, but where the fuck is he gonna go?
Here's some things that worry me about like the whole like, do we have aircrafts things or not, like or whatever? Because a lot of them tend to say this, that we have space aircrafts and stuff like that, whatever, like alien aircrafts. Mm-hmm. The things that bother me about like whether it makes it hard to believe it but not completely is the intelligence is good. Every country in the world's got intelligence divisions. Mm-hmm. You mean to tell me when one of these other countries finds out that hasn't found out that we have one and isn't ready to tell the world about it? Because they know that, like, if you're a Russia, right? Mm-hmm. And your intelligence, because their intelligence gathering is very good. The rest of their military sucks, but their intelligence gathering is very good. They find out America's got one. They know that could be more than likely used against them. They ain't telling the world about it because they know what kind of hysteria it would cost as far as like in America. And they want that shit.
I mean, maybe there is a division
unless we're
where they're
that
all
good,
connected.
Unless we're that good at hide that shit.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I'm not saying we can't. I struggle to believe that, or on the other side of it, I don't think that we're the only country that has them.
Mm-hmm.
Who's to say
Yeah.
that there's not 4 or 5 other NATO countries that have them, and that they're doing all this, like they're sharing science with each other or whatever, trying to figure it all out or whatever? Because all of these things are going to turn into is war weapons.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the scientists in these little bunkers are thinking about how we'll travel stars or whatever. Not the governments. They're thinking about how we can kill the enemy with it, or siphon the science in it or whatever. Because you know the explanation that they gave for some of those like UFOs with the fighter jets and stuff like that, or whatever. Like they were testing a military application for being able to do like holograms and stuff like in the sky or whatever. And they had some evidence to back that up in terms of like shit showing up on other people's radars and stuff like that. Now, both of those can still happen at the same time, right? They could still be doing the hologram things and the fucking little ship show up at the same time. Like it's like, I don't think that one necessarily is an excuse for the other. Like, you know, it could be, but it also could be the other way around. But who's to say, where would we get science like that from? Like, you know, because that's like generations ahead. And that's
Which is why I can which is why I continue to say that I think that they are technology advanced.
This hologram technology was so. Like, it's not just like I say hologram technology, but this was shit so advanced that these holograms were popping up on spy radar for other countries. They look like aircrafts in the air.
Yeah, I mean, if they can bring back Tupac to life to play it, the fucking
or Elvis
stage,
or whoever,
you know?
like, you know,
Yeah.
For all, but then, you know, that's if you're in the camp that doesn't think that they're dead. So, you know, it's really just like, you know, barely Tupac's still alive. He's on an island somewhere.
I think that one's true.
He's on the island with Biggie and Elvis.
No, I think those two are past, but I definitely think.
Why can't Biggie be alive if Tupac's alive?
Didn't he have like an open casket thing?
They could put anybody
that was
in there.
him. Yeah.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Holograms.
Holograms. Clones. I mean, you're not wrong. Yeah.
That's but no, as far as like I'm not against, and I think I when I talked to you, Kat, I think I really did explain this that well, was like that I'm not against like extraterrestrial thought processes altogether, because you're dumb if you think that that's like,
so there's nothing
out of the country that is not possible, because the universe is too big. We haven't ventured through the whole thing. There's no way we can know. It's probably harder to believe. Like, if you wanted to make me skeptical, I would say that I am skeptical of the fact that somehow they showed up here, like randomly, as big as this place is or whatever. You know, like we're assuming a lot. We're assuming they're technologically advanced. We're assuming that they could cross the universe at light speed. We're assuming this, that, and the third or whatever, because they can't really hide from us in the solar system, because we've kind of mapped that out and we kind of have science to really figure that out or whatever. Yeah. Unless you're in the camp of the advanced technologically or whatever. If they're not advanced technologically, there's no way they're here and we don't know it.
Well, I mean, that can go into the whole scientifically advanced, and they just have portals from different planets.
So the portal thing gets into more time, bending space time.
Debatable.
But you believe in the multiverse part.
Yeah, no, I'm liable to more agree with that part than I am the crossing the fucking universe in a fucking spaceship.
But we don't know if it's a spaceship.
Go hand in hand. FTL is basically multiversing dimensions, except because a wormhole is by definition, in some ways, crossing multiverses, because you're bending space and time. That all kind of goes in that same bucket. The only difference between like one universe and another, and like, you know, is the whole, like, I guess like the butterfly effect sort of scenario of you're the same person on both places, but you made one life choice and one life choice on another, and that's what the difference is.
Right.
Like, and that could be 1,000 different choices, you know, amongst like, or millions, or however many worlds are spanned across that. That's that's not people get that confused with like time travel, and that's not the time travel, because I think that those times are side by side. Like you really don't time travel those because they're all happening at the same time. That just different shit is happening.
Well, that's kind of like where I believe the whole deja vu thing comes into play. It's like everything exists at the same point or at the same time. Like none of it's no, we're not further in the future or in the past. We're all just kind of like blossoming up in one
I read
center
this
point.
theory. I read this theory, and it kind of goes along with what you're saying about like it's all harmonic balancing, right? There's like dimensional vibrations, and I think what you're seeing in deja vu is like a cross vibration of another place.
Right. Yeah.
It's like it happened maybe seconds ahead of what, like, I don't think we're like exactly time synced. I think that there's like, but it's not like years apart. It's probably more closer to like minutes or maybe at most hours. But that would,
really?
Yeah, I think it's just, and that because the vibration frequency thing that they talk about or whatever, I think part of that vibration difference is time. But I don't think it's that wide. I mean, it could be from like, I think it different. I guess it could be, because if you think about like one and it's different by a few minutes in each one, maybe thousands of universes down the line, it's a bigger time difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
And like how you're going across like time zones, like if you're going out across time zones or whatever, like as you go further, the time difference
galaxy
is bigger,
zones.
whatever. Yeah. So I could see that where it's like, okay, on Earth 3560 versus Earth 1, there's a bigger time difference, right? Like it's, probably years or hours or, decades or whatever. But like in the first couple, it's probably merely minutes or seconds.
Okay, yeah.
Because that vibration frequency kind of going down or whatever. Like, because what I think attributes more to deja vu is closer to something minutes or seconds happening on one of these other ones. That's because the vibration difference is minuscule the closer you are to the same time line in terms of these worlds, right? I think that it's so dramatically different, 3,500 worlds down than us. It would be harder to get that same deja vu moment right away.
So you're saying, okay, so are you saying that the closer you are to the center of the vibration, the more instances of deja vu you are likely to have?
Of more recent events.
Okay, so and then so say if I have a deja vu feeling of something that happened like a year ago, and I remember it like specifically being a long period of time, then
it's happened probably further down that line. Like I think like worlds down. Like it.
Now. It makes sense, but it only makes sense within like
there's probably a bunch of holes in that science, but like there's probably a bunch of holes. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm saying that there could be holes in it.
I know, obviously, because we're not fucking scientists, but I'm saying like
that goes into the whole aliens. If you're listening, can you just give us a blippet of the science, please? Thanks.
But like see, the thing that I'm saying is that when that instance of deja vu happens, it's a very independent experience. Like I might not have a deja vu often. I might have it like once every 2 years or so. But then who's to say that another person who experiences more often are like, how are they, even though they're within my reality, right? They're a friend. How is it that they're experiencing it more than I am if we are in the same?
Are we talking the same event, or are we talking about like just random different events?
I think he's talking about like say him and I, like I say, Esteban, I had a deja vu moment on Monday, and he's like, oh yeah, I had one on Tuesday, and then I had another one on Thursday, and then Friday, and Saturday. It's like, how are you having all these same deja vu moments when I only had one, but we're on the same timeline?
Oh, I read something about this. So basically, the way I understood it was that there are some people that are more in tune with like that vibration, like cross-dimensional vibration, that are more susceptible to it. It has to do with like brain chemistry / like shit that's happened in your life.
So like the whole third eye type thing.
Even down to the point of like where you live. Like they're more like I've heard of more instances of like the closer you are to the polar magnetics, like so like closer to your North Pole, South Pole, you know, things like that. Things that could trigger like magnetic resonance or whatever, or like fucking satellite dishes, shit like that, or whatever. That you're more apt to have more frequent instances of deja vu of more recent events. Like the ones that happen more often is like shit that's like hours are different, you know, minutes difference or whatever. And then like, but it doesn't stop you from having ones that are just from year, like you were saying, like a year apart or whatever, whatever. It's the more often than not, it's what I've read. It's the more often you have them that typically is the closer to like your, is shit that's happened in other universes closer to yours in time. But you could also have these farther distant ones or whatever. It's just how you're, and everybody's different because everybody vibrates different. So like, you know, we're not all like the planet vibrate, you know, your world vibrates, your universe vibrates at one point, and then you do, and how you vibrate with that, and whatever, and it gets really, really deep into that.
So Esteban, you need to open your third eye a little bit more, and you'll have more deja vu.
I gotta buy more vibrators.
Oh my!
You gotta hold them real tight.
That's gonna open a whole different other eye.
Strapped to your head, like, you know, like maybe you vibrate that brain enough, you'll get on the right frequency, and yeah. No, but like, I could see, because when they like, you hear of these people that are time travelers, right? Like, you know, whatever. I think they are time traveling, but not really on the same timeline. They're traveling they're coming from another universe's timeline. Because I mean, theoretically, every time travel is another universe, right? Because it's different points in time.
Yeah.
So I think that time travel, the whole thought about time travel and the timeline, and multiversing is kind of synergistic. Like, you know, and just like they say, if you change something in the future, you change something in the past. And go back and forth. I think because it's not. I think that it's not meant to change something across universes. Like it breaks the science, right? Like you're not supposed to do that because it affects every world in between. I have this theory that if somebody were, let's just say somebody were to time travel from Earth 3560 and come back to 1 or whatever, and they change something on 1 because they were so far ahead on 3560 or whatever, they effectively, you know, manipulate or change things from everything from 1 to 3560.
Right.
Sometimes smaller changes, sometimes bigger changes. You know, it depends. I think it's probably the closer you are to your reality. So 3560, the closer you are to 3560, the smaller the changes are going to be.
Yeah,
but they vibrate back. Yeah, but they vibrate back. So we would get the more dramatic of the changes, but we won't notice them till we get to that time, that far into the future. But would we really notice them, or we know about them because we'd have to know what happened in the future, or we would have to know that there was a different outcome. That's where it gets kind of weird. Like, it's like, you know, I think that the only really time I think it's possible to manipulate time events, but you would have to do it to where only more than one, nobody else could know it but you. Because it effectively manipulates it for, the more people it manipulates it for, the more dramatic effect it has. That's why, like, when you saw those, like, you know, when the people like talk about like the butterfly factor, they did a good job of it in the movie where it's when he was the only one that knew there was a change, it was smaller changes. But when it like he changed something for somebody and they knew that's what he did because he like told them or whatever, it got all fucked up. But you know, like as far as like aliens and like and stuff like that. And again, alien's just such a loose. We use the term alien as anything that's not from here, but a lot of people think alien and it has to automatically mean little green men. I subscribe to the theory that for all we fucking know, they could look just like us. And maybe have some subtle differences. But could be little green men too. We don't know. Like there could be. I think it probably is closer to like Mass Effect. But there's like a bunch of different kinds.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there has to be. With as infinite as the universe is, of course.
I mean, they could be all different colors, shapes, eyeballs, tentacles, legs. They can be everything. We don't
And that
know.
could be just as the same across like these universes too, right?
Yeah,
Because like it's.
because I'm sure there's planets bigger than ours, but the people are like itty bitty, and I would finally
I
be
mean,
tall.
one of the biggest worries for like scientists is that if we even go to try to terraform, we go to terraform another planet, we get like say we decide that we fuck this place up real good and we're going to Mars, right?
Mhm.
Or like whatever other place.
Yeah.
Human biology is going to change with that. Humans
Mhm.
will no longer be regular humans anymore. Like we are going to become something else because of the biology, because of the ecology of that planet.
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
Unless we
but
were to replicate Earth exactly,
Well, I mean, you can't.
which you can't. I mean, who's to say there's not
but
one out there?
then
Again, we don't know.
but then that's just like a testament to the whole like human evolution thing.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, I agree.
maybe that's what's supposed to happen. Like what's the point if we're gonna you know
Ah, that's a good point. What if
yeah
these aliens are really just further along the evolutionary cycle, but they are technically humans? They've evolved further.
Mhm.
right, because it's like if our next step is Mars and we show up in our spacesuits and all this other shit, right? Obviously the end goal is to not need those spacesuits. We don't need them.
Yeah, we would have to terraform to make an atmosphere and all the stuff like that, whatever.
Right, and all the
And people need to
changes that
stop
have to
this.
happen. We gotta.
Mars is never going to happen because they've proven that you can't really build an atmosphere here. There's a bunch of other planets that can happen. Just Mars was never.
So then,
Mars
wouldn't
blew
that
its
go in?
atmosphere away.
Wouldn't that just go into the theory of we were the aliens, but we just keep going through evolution because our planet is no longer inhabitable?
I think that. I mean, technically, I think we weren't really. If you like, again, when you go back to that Anaki story, we technically weren't here. We were brought here.
So again,
Like
aren't
they
we the
brought us here,
aliens then?
but if you think about it, we originated from Nibiru, but
Yeah.
to
So the
that
whole
story, we weren't exactly human. Like we were called human, but we were looked entirely different.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the whole start of the Anunnaki is that you had these beings that come down from Nibiru so they can mine the planet, right? And there were some Anunnaki who just so happened to get some like a little too freaky with the people on Earth, which were like say Neanderthals or whatever. And because they got freaky, they ended up mixing DNA, and that's how humans came to exist as they are now. And then you also get like the Anunnaki who created giants, and there's like giant skeletons that are buried all over the world. But
That's true.
Well, didn't they
because
say
they
the Anunnaki were giants, like in theory, because
right,
they were a lot bigger
yes,
than us? Yeah.
yes, and because of that, they the reason that there's not giants around anymore is because they couldn't survive to life on Earth as it is because the Earth is not built for giants. The Earth is built for
Yeah,
like
the
for
gravity,
us.
the gravity was killing them. Like they could only stay. I think that they like the way the story said that they were cycling in and out, like going back and like almost doing like tours because the gravity was practically killing them.
The oxygen was
Yeah.
poisonous.
It wasn't
But
so
look
much the
at
oxygen; it was actually just gravity because apparently, like on Nibiru, the gravity they have like 40% less gravity, which means it was the reason why they are so much bigger because less gravity means that you could stretch the form. That's why they worry about like humans in space because like like you can only be in space for so long because our skeletal structure was meant to have a certain amount of gravity.
yeah, look at the tallest man who existed. God, what was he? He was like a Swedish dude.
Oh yeah, the dude was like 7'11" or some shit. Like wasn't he like fucking ridiculous?
Yeah, Robert Wadlow, that dude. He was 8 foot 11 inches tall, and he had a fucking horrible existence. Like
Yeah,
homeboy
because
was
like we were
suffering his
only meant
entire life.
yeah because his top or hat like his bone structure was meant it was basically killing him because of gravity. Like he would have lived an awesome life. He just went to space.
Yeah, he would have been fucking solid. But
yeah,
when you're
like, yeah.
that tall and your blood vessels have to work so hard to get to your upper extremities, it's
Right, yeah,
it's
he said like he died for like he was slowly dying from like blood oxygen deprivation
yep,
because like
can do it.
like it couldn't travel through his body.
So short people live longer?
Yes,
Oh, nice.
ideally, yes.
I'm gonna live longer than you, Dom.
From biology standpoint, you should.
Okay.
However,
Yeah,
you
the
won't.
closer you are to the ground. The closer you are to the ground, the better.
Nice.
But you're
proud to be
fucked
short
in
now.
space because you will float away.
Yeah. I don't plan on going to
but-
space.
No,
Heights
but
scare
like
me.
again, that's like when you get deeper to the Anunnaki like story, that shit seems so much more believable
Mhm.
than like everything else. Like it's like I can get behind. Didn't they bring like other beings here to be like slaves and shit too, and then they kept dying because they kept trying like. They accidentally made us slaves because of the whole like getting freaky with the Neanderthals or whatever. They didn't mean for us to be us. It just kind of happened, and they're like, "Well, we can't take them back with us because they won't be able to live there. So let's just give them civilization and all this shit and let them do their thing."
Yeah, that's the story of the Anunnaki.
Yeah, they left some other shit that, I mean, depending on like what you believe, they left some other shit that ended up being technology for us today that the Aztecs used and shit like that, right? Like it was like the sundial and all this other shit.
Yes, and then also
if you believe in all the Mayan calendar and
the was it the Antikythera?
I know what you're talking about. I just can't remember how to say it, but I know what you're talking about.
It's like some sort of celestial calendar or whatever, and it can calculate
but was like more watered down. Like it wasn't what they originated because the Mayan calendar really just only reflects shit on Earth, but the one that they were talking about has like it truly like celestial, like it was more universal time.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't remember the name, but like you were right there with it. But like but then I can't remember where they said like the Anunnaki and like where it had like something to do with Atlantis and like the Lunarians and stuff. Or were they just separate stories altogether?
I would like to believe that they were separate stories because I don't remember. I don't remember if they ever overlapped. I think the Lemurians and all that might have been a separate thing.
Yeah, because that's the Lunarians and Atlantis. I think were all one thing, and I think that. Okay, Atlantis and Anunnaki. Okay, maybe. No, because there's another guy that's out there that spews a lot of bullshit you gotta watch out for. Have you heard that Billy Carson guy?
No.
Shoot that motherfucker in the face, dude. Like he's like that guy is.
Let's not do that.
Whack. Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry.
Let's not do that one. But
that guy is a.
Not condone murder.
I do
Yeah,
not.
sorry.
I do not. Sorry, guys.
Disclaimer.
Oh, that's all in there already.
I meant figuratively.
Yeah. Like if you see him in Fortnite, then go for it.
Yeah. All they need to please make him a skin in Fortnite, dude, because that's the only person that I will ever hunt down. Billy Carson, if you look him up, he has made millions of dollars off of his quack theories. Basically, he knows he is the end all be all of knowledge around quantum theory.
Why?
Despite not attending college.
Why? Just
no.
Why?
I mean, this is his words. I'm telling you his words.
Yeah.
But
or the other people that follow him, like, because quantum theory means what here? Like so, we don't even have. We have like two quantum computers. Yeah, it's like saying it's just buzzwords he likes to throw around.
Oh, I see.
Like these tablets. He takes a lot. Again, he's one of those people like you were talking about earlier that take a sliver of truth and make it look like and turn it into bullshit. That there's some truth to what he's saying, but he just manipulates it to fit his what he's talking about, his narrative. And he's wrote a bunch of books and shit. He's been on a bunch of podcasts or whatever, and he's totally full of shit.
Yeah, I'm looking at his page right now. Oh man.
Yeah, does he not scream I'm a quack? Like he's got this like enlightenment membership thing you can get where he can help you reach enlightenment. Because apparently he's a Buddhist too.
Oh, great. I mean, shit, most of the people that I know that are enlightened are, they took a little too much DMT and now they're really chill.
Yeah. You're more apt to be enlightened from that than you are this guy. Yeah, like this guy is like, he's like, again, like the Anunnaki stuff, he took to a whole nother fucking level and butchered it and made it worse and all this shit. Like,
I mean, but just fucking look at this dude's lifestyle, man. He's like,
and tell me he's not full of shit. Like,
yeah, but he's every nerd's like ideal guy.
oh yeah,
Like,
and I
all
think that's
this
why people buy into his shit.
Yeah,
Excuse you,
it's
I'm a
like
nerd.
he's the one-
I don't condone.
No, Kat, you are not the nerd that nerds have.
There's different level. Yeah, there's different levels of nerd.
Like
Oh,
this
okay.
is the nerd Jesus.
Like this is
Oh.
this is what the nerds look to be Jesus.
Oh.
This is not actual. Like, I don't think he's that nerdy. Like, it's like, you know, I don't think he knows. Like, listen to this thing, okay? Right? Like, he's a brand ambassador for a company called Gaia. He's a chief executive officer at First Class Space Agency, because that's a thing.
First class, baby.
President at Forbidden Knowledge. It's a company that's like the number 4 Forbidden Knowledge, and he's got a whole fucking TV channel. It's got all these different like documentary type things with all these other people that are just as goofy as he is.
It sounds like a cult more than anything.
It is a cult.
Oh, okay.
Seems like it, yeah.
A CEO and president of Fort Terra Nova. Cause what's that?
So it's just like a bunch
Basically, let's make companies named after a bunch of TV shows.
Yeah.
Or a bunch of buzzwords.
A bunch of buzzwords. Like, you know, it's like studies quantum physics at Khan Academy. Khan Academy is not a real place. It's an online school that basically just has like a bunch of little like
Cons.
little like well no, they have like a bunch of little like studies things or whatever. Like you can learn a lot of things there. You cannot learn quantum physics there. Okay, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing about him that I kind of find, like, if you want to talk to him being a fucking quack, he apparently has some merch that is a Letterman jacket, and the back says, "Now is where all the power is," with an all-seeing eye. That all-seeing eye is like the most basic clip art embroidered eye that you can get off the internet.
Copy and paste.
You want some good laughs? Just listen to his TikTok for like fucking just like 30 minutes.
Oh, I will.
Every
I
clip
will
that he's got on
that.
there is just, it just makes you laugh so much. Like, it's because it's like, how far off the deep end can you go? Like, it's like, or like, maybe you're right. Maybe he's done too much DMT and he's just permanently there. Like, reality isn't really a thing to him anymore.
Kat
like,
does not condone drugs either. Thank you.
It's, you know, I mean, depending on who you talk to, DMT is not a drug because it's of the earth.
This is
like
true.
weed.
But yeah.
I don't know if I subscribe to that theory.
We can't go into this here. We cannot do this.
All right, guys. Well, I think I'm going to wrap up this stream at this point. Any final things? Aliens, yes. They're real. Doesn't agree.
You know, I'm a just say this. Like Arthur C. Clarke said, the two possibilities exist. Either we are alone in the universe, or we are not.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Terrifying.
Yeah, that I could not stress that enough. That is like the terrifying part. It's just as terrifying being here by ourselves, and the fact that like there's no other, you know, interaction. Like, you know, that we've got this vast expanse and we're it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And the other side could be terrifying too, possibly.
So, you know, up until then, let's just follow the words of what's his name? The guy with the little blue dot. God, what's his fucking name? You know it.
I know what you're talking about. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Who is the little blue dot?
Carl Sagan.
Oh, Carl Sagan. Yeah, he makes a lot of sense. He makes more sense than a lot of these other guys. Just don't listen to Billy Carson. Just whatever you do, like your life will be much better for it.
Well,
that's all I gotta say.
Send us out.
All right, we're gonna go see young Don Julio. Thank you guys. Appreciate you guys. You guys are amazing, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Bye, guys.